Mike and Matt, you don't know me, but I felt it was important to send you a message. I recently discovered this inner office memo. Let me read. To all concerned. Date April 30th, 1997. RE-US PC Games. Players and collectors all over the world are experiencing the thrill of the chase as they take hand in solving the mysteries of the X-Files Collectible Card Game. The facts are: 1. The X-Files CCG is fun to play, and 2. The X-Files CCG cards are collectible. This inner office communication was sent by a gentleman named Robert Markese, sales manager. Now, I know that usually somebody else meets you or sends you information about who you should find next, but you should be very careful in searching for Robert Markese.
Shh. Hey, it's me, guys. It's Dave. I love this part, it's only good use of the mask. So, alright, you need to go find Robert. We called him Bob. He made these inner office memos. He was a sales manager. He's who you should find next. Okay, shh, don't tell anybody.
So again, you don't know me, but you need to find Robert Markese, sales manager. And if you find him, be very careful. He's a salesman. He'll sell you stuff. Well, anyway, I like this part. This tape message will self-destruct in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mike and Matt bringing back the mid to late 90s. Mike and Matt bringing back X-Files CCG.
Welcome back, everybody, to Mike and Matt's X-Files CCG.
Yeah,
We have a special treat for you.
so many treats, man.
We do. So many treats, so many cavities. We have Bob Markese here.
Markese,
Or
right?
Markese,
Or Markese, okay.
the sales manager for the X-Files CCG. Comes highly recommended by David May.
Yep. So basically, if there was anything sales related, this guy was on it, and we are pleased to be welcomed by Bob to the show.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. Excited to talk to you too. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about, bringing back old memories, and very excited.
So tell us right off the bat, what was your role, and how did you kind of get started on that? How did this kind of cascading thing of the 1996 adventure that started with the X-Files Collectible Card Game get started for you?
Oh, wow. Well, being chief sanitation engineer and bottle washer, I actually was the sales manager for the product. I'm going to take you back in the Wayback Machine. Prior to that, I used to work for Leaf Candy, who also owned Don Russ trading cards, baseball and hockey. We had been approached by NLS at the time to look at doing cards for movies. We did trading cards for Joe's Apartment and Twister and Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. All the biggies.
You didn't do Jurassic Park, did you?
No, we didn't. Jurassic Park wasn't out at that time, if I remember. That was
okay.
94-ish, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember
was...
buying a box of Jurassic Park movie cards. They weren't even they weren't even like, it wasn't even a game. It was just like literally just cards of scenes from the movie, and I thought that was so cool.
It is.
Well, that's exactly what we did too. And actually, it had been done years ago. Prior to that, we just resurrected it again. And so in order for us to get the good movies, we had to take the not so good movies. I'm not going to use the C word, but it was the crap movies. So the Joe's Apartment.
I love Joe's
you know,
Apartment though.
Did you?
Said that, I was like, really? Yeah. With the cockroaches?
when you're in sales, and I was the sales manager for the hobby side of the business. We had the hobby side and we had the distributor side of the business. So I was working directly with hobby shops, the baseball card sellers. So you're trying to sell Joe's Apartment and Twister and When Nature Calls, and people are just like, huh? Why? I mean, there were better movies out there that we could have gotten. I've actually still got the sets of those in my house. I gave them to my son, but it's kind of funny. You look at it; they were great pictures, but what do you do with them? You didn't really trade them. They weren't baseball cards. Baseball cards at the time when I was there were actually they had gone up in value because of the rarity, the collectibility. And then all of a sudden, all the card companies decided, well, we're just going to sell more cards because everybody wants them. It's the old adage of, hey, if it's collectible and people are collecting more, then we'll just put more out of the market and increase collectibility. Well, that was wrong, and I'm going to get to that as we talk into
the Ken Griffey Jr. Rookie card Finasco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when we were starting that whole Donruss, or starting into that, when I got there, we were looking into the inserts. That was when inserts started, when you would get a pack and you would have one special card in there. And then eventually over time, it turned out that one card wasn't good enough. And then you got to the point where, you have the card companies, Fleer or, I can't even remember who was down in Texas, but they went to just putting one card in a pack. And we're selling one card in a pack. That's how bad it got. People were taking the regular common cards and just throwing them out. It's sort of like, taking the gum out of the pack and throwing it out and just keeping the cards. That's what the cards turned out to be. They were just kind of filling.
I can't imagine throwing away that many Kresge's.
Oh,
We've never done that.
We've
kept
kept every Kresge. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was definitely a time, it was interesting. Donruss was we were innovative. We had a really good staff and the art side of it. And so we were creating all these really unique cards. We were the ones that started with the wood cards. We actually had hockey cards that were made out, we're actual wood. So things like that. And so we got, like I said, an NLS approached us. We started out with that. They came to us then with Next Games. We got involved. I can't remember the exact reason why Next Games and NLS got together, but we started working with them on this collectible card game, the X-Files. And it was really, it was intriguing to me because I'm what I always call myself, a closet gamer. The Dungeons and Dragons wannabe person. So so I was really interested in that, and I took to it, and we were working towards developing this game with the guys at NXT, and we had the initial cards, the ones, and I'm not sure where those are at these days, but I remember them being in the plastic covers, and they were basically pasted together, and just what it was going to look like and everything else. And at that time, Donruss was in the process of, or Leaf was in the process of selling off the Donruss trade, and so they were selling it. And at that time, they decided that it was, that they wanted to get rid of the baseball cards, although the baseball cards were making them more money than candy would ever make them in the way of profitability. I mean, you think about it, you print up cards, you just print up paper stock. And so they sold it off. And I, at the time, was working in the hobby side of the business, working with some of the distributors, and one of the distributors in Florida offered me a job. So I decided to move down to Florida with my family at that time, leaving Donruss before they sold it. Didn't know where the X-Files were going to go to. I was disappointed that I wasn't able to be a part of that. But wherever it was going to go, it was, that's where it was going to land. about 6 months into my exile down in Florida, I got contacted by US Playing Cards. And they said, well, hey, you're the only one that knows anything about this game and how we were going to start selling it into the market through Donruss. So they asked me to come on board as the sales manager. Yeah, I was excited as all get out, of course, to do that, and then to have the opportunity to meet and work with Ronnie. She and I were the two first people to really come on board to do the sales and marketing piece of it, and then having that opportunity to actually develop what the cards are going to look like, working with the guys at NXT on the gameplay and just going, just the meeting of the minds coming together to try and make this the best product, not only the product, but the best game that we could have out there. It was very interesting because Ronnie, coming from Wizards of the Coast, had the new, what their trade secrets were and everything else. I came from the baseball card market, understanding collectibility. And we came together and said, okay, what is it that Wizards of the Coast did that kind of took them down a bit, took them down a notch? And if you remember at that time, the Black Lotus was the card to have, right?
Yeah.
Well, when everybody said, well, we need the Black Lotus, but they couldn't use it in gameplay, et cetera, tournament play, then they said, okay, well, we're going to come out with the white border Black Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it totally destroyed the collectability of the black border Lotus, right? Because you couldn't, you could play the card, but it was just that collectability piece that there were only so many out there. So Ronnie and I both agreed at the time, it's like, well, what can we do better than what they did? And we said, let's keep that collectibility there. And that's how, all of the nuances, the different inserts came about, how the Deny Everything card came into being, was because we wanted the collectibility to be there.
So the Deny Everything. So I said this to Ronnie too.
Yeah.
So that was part you then.
Well, yeah, I was part of that process because of the collectibility piece. We would bounce things off of each other all the time. But the Deny Everything, yeah, from taking it and designing how many cards we were going to produce, how it was Ronnie's input and her brainchild to do it in Scry with so many, added with the other card, and then in so many magazines. It was
it was 1 in 50, and 16-year-old me hates you.
Yeah, I remember going to Barnes and Noble, like, okay, how many can we afford?
Dude, like we even knew, like, when the Scry showed up at the splash page, the comic book shop we went to, and he would keep them up, and he wouldn't let you like pull them off the shelf.
No.
To look through it, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
sort of like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
And still. And what's funny is, I mean, we have some awesome stuff now, but as far as just cards that were printed, just standard cards that were printed, that's the last card we didn't even have one in December.
No,
I didn't even think we got one until like March of this year or something.
Oh, really?
We were never able to find the damn thing.
Yeah.
you didn't call me.
Well, yeah. So you did an excellent job of like keeping the collectibility.
Oh,
even
yeah.
25 years later.
Yeah. No, it was an awesome move on our part, and back in those days, when people were saying, well, what is this Deny Everything card? I'm getting it in Scry and not everybody's getting it. What happened? And if you remember back at 16, if you were online and going into our website, we actually were very, very secretive about what was going on, until one day we decided, well, let's just put out a redacted memo. And, that came from the CEO saying, it's come to my attention that 5,000 of the Deny Everything cards were inadvertently sent to Scry magazine. They should not have been put out there. And as soon as that happened, bam, collectibility. Cards were going for $75 a piece.
Yeah. Now, did you, on that same kind of note, did you have anything to do with the contest that took place?
No, not directly.
Okay.
I was having fun just selling to the distributors and talking to the people at the conventions. The contest itself, I was not directly involved with that. I left it in the hands of the experts. So, You know,
We're
it's just
still hunting for that
Yeah,
one.
we still haven't found the person that's like, yeah, I was the one that organized that whole
Oh
contest.
yeah, that day's gonna be coming.
Yep.
it'll come someday. Yeah, you know, someday. Yeah, probably when I'm either dead or you know retired somewhere along the line. But
Well, there's a couple people that we still have yet to track down.
Yeah.
It amazes me that at this time 6 months ago,
Yeah.
or even less, we were like sicking the hounds to find David May.
Yep.
And if you watched his interview, that was like legit. Like I was just sitting in here one day and my phone, I looked down and it says David May. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
How did he even
Caller
get
ID.
my number? And then he's just like, I hear you're looking for me. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And like ever since that happened, it's just been a cascading effect, you know,
Yeah.
like we've met such cool people. So
yeah,
Man.
it definitely it's yeah, those guys are great. They're great, definitely.
So I gotta ask, how closely did you work with like the play testers, like David May and Brian Woodward? Were you involved directly, like day to day, or was it?
No, that was Dave Frank's job, but Dave reported to me. So so I knew what he was doing. I gave him free rein to do whatever he did. The one thing about being successful as a manager is allowing the people to do what they do best. I like to hire people that know more than I know. So that's a sign of a good manager. Dave Frank was tops in that venue. I myself, I was always amazed just watching them talk about the gameplay and everything else. I understood it very well. I didn't play it very often, but you know, like I said, I had other things on my plate I had to do. But it was very interesting and exciting to watch him and Dave May come together. When we hired Dave May, you know, it was funny because Dave May, he's going to hate me for this. He was a gangly kid in my eyes. He was just, you know, kind of tall and just, you know, but he was just such a gamer. You know, you could just see it in his eyes. He just really loved the game and really just absorbed it. And you need those kind of people to promote what, you know, what turned out to be a very successful endeavor. So
from a sales standpoint, I don't think I actually asked Ronnie this question, but from a sales standpoint, when the debacle that took place between Premiere and Truth happened, was there a moment for you when you got an email, you got a memo, you got a phone call, and you just, like in the movies, you just went, oh, fuck, like
fudge? Yeah, exactly. But I didn't say fudge.
Yeah.
Yes, I did have that moment, and it's almost like it was yesterday. Ronnie and I both harped on our production people. Collation. We promised. We wanted to overpromise and overdeliver, and we did it on all points. You know, card stock, pictures, gameplay, collectibility. The only thing we screwed up on was collation of the decks, right? You were supposed to get one of each of the agent in a box, right? And you could see the agent's face in the hole in the box, right? You knew who you got. But the one thing that we kept on telling the production people is that in collation, you have to have these types of cards in there and collate them so you can play it out of the box. They screwed it up. And when we started getting those complaints of, you know, I can't play this because I don't have an agent, or, you know, I don't have an adversary, or something is going along, we realized and went back to production, said, so did you do what we said? And they said, oh, no, we did it our way. Like one of those things, you know, it's the fudge thing. And we knew, Ronnie and I knew at the time that was going to be, you know, a tough hurdle to jump over. You have to remember, US playing cards collates 52 cards plus 2 jokers. So it's the same thing. You can't screw it up. You've got, you know, 4 suits, you got 2 jokers, all goes into the box. How can you mess that up? Think about all of, you know, if you look at a full sheet of cards of the X-Files, and you probably have, you know, you see them back there. I mean, I've still got my sheet downstairs in my basement that says USPC games on it and everything else in the frame. But you look at it and the complexity of it, you don't have just one sheet of cards, you have multiple sheets. You have to take those, cut them up, then you have to put them into their slots, into their chutes, and then you have to shoot them into the box, accordingly, as opposed to just taking a sheet of 52 plus 2 jokers, cutting it up, throwing it into, and just putting them into a box like this. Yeah. So they didn't listen well enough. They didn't think it was a big deal because they were a playing card company. I'm sorry, I'm dissing the company, but and I'll get into that because let me tell you, it really pissed me off as we went further into this. And so we had to figure out, how are we going to fix this? In order to fix it, we had Dave May, Dave Frank, and I think we might even hired temps to start sending cards out to people. People would write in or send us emails and say, hey, I don't have this, or this. We would take the cards and literally put them into envelopes and send them out to people.
Oh, wow.
That's how bad it got. And
about that,
right? Yeah, we didn't know. All we had to do was ask.
Yeah,
all you had to do was ask. Oh,
I don't seem to have any deep throats in my deck.
Yeah.
It's exactly what would have happened. We would have sent it to you because we needed to save face. From the consumer perspective, we were losing the fan base. But on the distributor side, me being the salesman, going out, and I plugged the hell out of this game, and everybody's really excited. They bought tons of it. We made, we sold millions of dollars worth of product. But then to come to find out that it's broken, and how are we going to fix it? The distributors came to me and said, nothing's selling off the shelves because it's broken. Are you going to take this product back? And there's where it comes into the corporate scenario here. The CEO, Ron Rule, I don't know if you've heard his name. Go ahead. You're going to ask a question.
Oh, I was thinking, like, from a standpoint from like Matt and myself, we never really had that complaint. We never played a game and we were never involved in like, well, this is bullcrap because I can't play this. Like, we seem to have an access enough that we could actually play. And maybe, honestly, maybe that's why we got into so many fights, is because we didn't have.
We did. Yeah, there must have been gaps we didn't realize were the game, and we thought it was us. Like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You suck. No, I.
Oh yeah. You should. There's a reason why there's a card that we made called "I'm calling mom and going home," because it was rough. Oh, dude, it was real. Yeah. But my question was, guys like us, we weren't aware of the problem, and even if we were, you were still trying to sell the cards to people that had no idea that there was a problem.
True.
So what was the reason why sales lacked in that aspect? I mean, could you really say that, well, there's enough people that are having a problem that we need to put out, the truth is out there set. How do we market this one now to bring in people that had no idea that there was a problem to begin with?
Yeah, we launched The Truth Is Out There quickly because of what we had experienced with the breaking of the decks themselves. The thing is, when you're talking about sales or and in this genre, because the consumer is very picky, choosy, whatever you want to call it, in a good sense. You want quality product, and when we go out and we tell them we're going to give them quality product, you overpromise and underdeliver. When you're in a corporate setting, that's the death nail. So you have to somehow try and fix it as quickly as possible so it doesn't blow up to the level where everybody says, screw this, I want to send all my product back. We aren't going to have a total recall and get everything back. It's just not going to be acceptable. So we had numerous ideas on how to potentially fix what we had out there. The first one, of course, was sending out the cards so that people could complete their decks. It was prevalent enough out there, and we were getting enough fan mail that's telling us that it's broken, that we had to do something. You may not have experienced it, maybe a lot of people didn't, but the chatter out there was growing, and you have to stop it as quickly as possible. So The Truth Is Out There was brought about, and The Truth Is Out There, if memory serves me right, we had those boxes numbered, right?
Yeah, they had the numbers in the backs of them. Yeah. So
why did we have them numbered? So you could tell you that we had only X amount of boxes, so we put collectibility back online again. So that was something that I brought in from the baseball card. days. We used to number boxes back then to, especially on the specialty cards, not the common cards that you get like the Donruss set, but the Donruss Elite or the Leaf set, etc. We would have the boxes numbered, so you knew that you got 1 of 5,000, or 2 of 5,000, etc. So then that created the collectibility. So we didn't make as much of the Truth Is Out There set as we did with the booster packs for the original edition, right? We had the boxes or the decks, and then we had the booster packs. When we came out with Truth Is Out There, we limited it. Now that in and of itself was a challenge with my boss and with Ron Rule, who was the CEO of USPC. We had to come back to him and fought tooth and nail and say, okay, we need to limit this. And Bob, I give Bob Lefevre, my boss, a lot of credit. He did listen to what we had to say, and they did do that. So I couldn't sell them to the distributors unless there was something there that they could take with it, and the collectibility or the limitation of the number of boxes was critical for them.
Yeah, it's funny. I've got a box of the 1013 set right here, and that's interesting because every single box on 1013 says, so this one's box number 29197.
Yeah.
So was that similar, like when 1013 was coming out, that you're like, for collectibility, that we just
for collectibility, you had to, the thing was that we had to limit what we had in order to kind of rekindle or to reignite the excitement that we had at the original launch. Because what happened is that from a sales perspective, we were expecting X number of cases to be sold. Let's say we made 1 million cases, but we only sold 25% of those when it broke. So what happened is that we still had this 75% left that nobody wanted to pick up. Distributors didn't want to sell it because they weren't going off the shelves, because the word had been spread that it's not working right. So I was in meetings with Ron Rule and with Bob Lefevre talking about how are we going to, get the distributors of all people back online here. And that's when we came up with the numbering of the boxes, the limitation on the booster sets. It didn't sit well with corporate. Ron Rule was not happy with that, but he went with us. But in the same vein, he would not step back and say, okay, we need to somehow pull back everything we got at the distributorships in the way of the original set, and do something with that. He just, excuse me, it's been 25 years. I don't even know if Ron Rule's still around. But I always likened it the analogy of, so if you put X-Files, he said, well, if it's X-Files, people will buy it. I said, well, so what you're telling me is that if we put X-Files on a piece of dog crap, people are going to buy it. And, he just wouldn't understand that. So behind the scenes, in addition to doing this numbering of the boxes, we were looking at how can we utilize with the inventory we had left, and it was a lot of inventory, a ton of inventory. What could we do with those boxes to fix it? We couldn't take them out of their boxes, recollate them. It was just impossible. That would be a nightmare to try and do that. So we created a couple of different things. We actually tried. We were looking at doing a gilded set. With the gold around it. So they had a gilding machine over at US Playing Cards. I remember when we tried this, put in the full set, the whole box, had all the sets of the first edition, put them together. We could do that and just put it together, put them into the gilding machine, came out as one big brick with gold around it. The card stock did not take well to the gilding. The playing card stock does, but the card stock we used, which was top of the line stock, didn't take very well. So it came out as a big gold block. Then,
do you think, Bob, does that block still exist? Do you think?
No, I don't think so. No, that I think that we just kind of laughed at it and kind of went, into the garbage can. That's just one of those things. It's just like, well, hey, let me take that. I'll use it as a paperweight for the next 25 years now. Right. Yeah. But I can tell you about the pewter cards, though.
Oh,
so You got the pewter there?
We
Yeah.
we have one pewter.
We have a molder pewter.
Mhm.
Oh,
Thanks to
molder
Brian
one.
Woodward.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we were graciously allowed to add some items to our collection. One of which was the molder pewter that Brian Woodward himself ended up. And I say this lovingly because I know it sounds like every person eventually smuggled it out. You say it like, oh yeah, you know, he totally stole that crap, but like 25 years later, it's like, yeah, I stole it. So what? Take me to court.
Well, the funny thing is, there's only 2 sets in existence.
So according to David May, there's 5 molders and 2 scullies.
Yeah. That's
And the 2 scullies that exist with the 2 molders. So those would be the 2 sets.
Okay, I didn't realize that we had 3 more molders. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so because let's see, it's David May has one, David Frank has one, Brian Woodward had one, and then we saw one set that Kevin Marion's friend had.
Yeah.
And then the other set that includes the Scully, we have no idea where that's at, but it's rumored that Ron Kent has it.
Possibility. Yeah.
So
Well, I was in possession of one of the sets up until I think about 4 or 5 years ago.
oh, really?
So I was, yeah, I was actually given one of the sets by my boss, who came in after Bob LaFavor at the time. And I was leaving because when everything started going downhill, I moved back from Cincinnati to the Chicago area and knew that it was kind of going down. And so Doug, my boss, said, "Here, let's take this." And so I had it, and I had it for many years. And yeah, Kevin contacted me, Kevin Marion. So Kevin and I met at Gen Con, I think, back the first Gen Con that we had. And he, you know, we had great discussions, just, you know, going over the game and everything. So I gave him my contact information. He gave me a holler, and I said, yeah, I still got them. And you know, kind of pulled them out of the mothball, so to speak. And yeah, so yeah, that was I think that was probably the best promotional idea that we had. You know, taking the 2, you know, the Mulder and Scully cards, and then putting the pack in there. That was how, you know, we were going to put a pack in every one of them. So you have the Mulder, Scully on the sides and the pack in the middle. And you've seen the box, I'm sure, that it came in, that, you know, the mock-up that we had, and that would have, I think, would have helped us. Would it have sold all of the product we had? Probably not, but it would have been one of the many different options that we had in order to start getting rid of the decks. You know, otherwise they would just be, you know, in a warehouse, you know, gathering dust. So yeah, so it was you know, the different ideas that came out. What could we do just to save what we knew? And I knew it, and Ronnie knew it probably inside. You know, I don't think we ever really talked about it afterwards, but I think we all knew that as it was starting to tail off because of the issues that we had with the collation and trying to kind of bounce back, and then USPC saying, just keep on pushing the original stuff because everybody will buy it. It just didn't. It kind of lost its shimmer, I think, and that's when we started closing down shop. Again, like I said, I was very disappointed. It's the best job I have ever had in my life. I worked with the best people. You know, even though we had collation issues, to be able to work as closely with production and with marketing, with Ronnie, with the Daves on the agent program, just being, and of course with NXT and NLS for that matter, it was just meshed, and we were humming, and you know, we had that skyrocket thing, and we had the you know, the world by the tail, and then all of a sudden it kind of like fell, and you know, that's why I'm having acid flashbacks here.
Well, I had 2 questions to follow up with that.
Sure, yeah.
So we talked a little bit earlier about, you know, the whole, you know, I didn't say fudge moment, but what was the moment for you when during that process? When you were like, holy crap, I need to get the hell out of here. This is done. Like, what was the needle in the haystack where you were like, I'm out?
You know, it was I think it was after the last boosters that we were sending out. 1013, I think was really when I saw the writing on the wall. Having the opportunity to work with the distributors and know what their thoughts are. Once you lose the distributor backing and support, you're pretty much dead in the water when it comes to the hobby realm. They're the ones that are in those hobby stores constantly. You could sell them directly to hobby, but you'd have to build a sales team in order to make that happen. We didn't have the network to do so. Distributing was the easier route and the more economical route for us. So I'd say, like I said, it was probably about a year into it, just as we got it out the door, everything was great, and then I knew that things were starting to come down. I got the new boss. Doug replaced Bob. Doug was now kind of trying to trying to sell the product as he does the playing cards. Well, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And I said, well, the thing you don't understand, Doug, is you don't understand the genre. You don't understand the players. And Ronnie, myself, and the Daves all knew what you guys were thinking. And when corporate steps in and doesn't allow you to do what is best for your consumer base, then you know it, and that's really the turning point. And I had a young son at the time. He was 1.5 years, 2 years old, and our home was Chicago area. So my wife and I decided to pull up stakes and come back home. And I was working from my house in Chicago area here for about 3 to 4 months before it finally all went down. So
how close to when it completely died off were you to leaving? I mean, did you see it when it was actually completely falling apart, or did you get out of there a little bit ahead of time?
No, I went to the bitter end until they actually told me that I'm that thanks for playing our game. Here's some lovely parting gifts. So was that it?
Yeah.
All right, so I gotta ask. I gotta liven the mood up a little bit.
I know. I'm such a Debbie Downer.
Oh no. It's not.
Knowing you, Mike, I'm guessing it has something to do with Gen Con, doesn't it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, kind of, but like,
probably.
Were you there? Were you a part of the Safe House crew?
Mm-hmm. With Dean Hagland?
Yeah,
I was there. Yeah, I was in the van with Frohickey. I forgot what his name was, and he was passed out in the back seat. So Hagland was running around, getting all these tchotchkes from the Safe House, and Frohickey and myself, and I forgot who else was with us. We were just drinking our butts off, and so we definitely. I was at the Safe House that night. Yes.
Wow. So after 25 years, does anything compare to the Safe House? Because all we've heard is good things about it.
Yeah.
Oh, the Safe House. Well, it's I've been there a couple times in my life. 25 years later, I don't know. Does anything compare? Well, it depends on, it's uncomparable because it's unique in itself. First things first, you have to get in there with a password. So you get in, and unless you know the password, you're stuck in that little cubicle area there. So, but afterwards, yeah, it gets wild in there, if memory serves me right. So.
It's just so funny to me that like we were helping pay for that.
Right? Yeah, I had no idea 16-year-olds that were putting money out.
Yeah, it was
lunch money.
Our lunch money was helping you hang out with Dean Hagland and Bruce Haywood.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. There we go. Yeah. The thing that was disappointing in that respect is that we didn't get all 3 gunmen. We only got the 2.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
With the mustache and the beard.
Byers, but he's very hard to get to autograph and to do shows and things of that nature. More pulled back, and in interviewing some of the celebrities that we've interviewed, we actually have contacts to certain celebrities. They are fully well aware of our show. Mm-hmm. But they're just not interested.
Don't want to do it.
Yeah, which I totally get. Like we're a couple of nobodies. So
not in my book. You're somebodies. Yeah, no, it was. you know, and I think that same was, yeah, I think it was the same week too. I actually went to a Clive Barker event, and he had, I forgot where that was held, but it was some bar, and a number of us went over there, and it wasn't an X-Files thing, but it was, I think it was very curious because Clive Barker, if you know his style, and he likes blood and he likes pointy things. He had some people behind a chain link fence. So when you walked into this bar and there was a chain link fence, and behind it were old dental chairs and almost like horizontal bars there. And people came out and they started impaling themselves with hooks. And then, you know, the skin, you know, pulling like hooks, and you had some guy behind, you know, kind of, they had them in their arms. They're all over the place. Like it was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. You know,
I have. I don't even think I've told you about this. Downtown Portland, about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
God, maybe even longer than that. I was told there used to be this awesome techno club we went to. You know how it is in your 20s when you're doing stupid crap. And now I'm in my 40s and I'm like, techno sucks. I want to go to bed.
I still do
like
stupid crap in my 50s, but yeah. Go ahead.
So we go down there thinking it was going to be a techno night.
Uh-huh.
And there's a guy at the door, and we're like, hey, what's the cover? And he's like, ain't no cover. I'm like, oh, cool. Who's here? And it's like, it's a show. It's Barker show. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but like, okay, cool. And we go in, and it was the same old club. It wasn't as packed as it normally was, but you know, it was OHM. It was this place called OHM in Portland.
Right.
And we go in, and I felt something like a raindrop on me. And I was like, what the? And I look up, and I kid you not, there were about maybe a little bit less than a dozen people hanging from the ceiling naked by meat hooks.
By meat hooks, exactly. That's a Clive Barker thing, you know.
Were you in a scene of Blade or something?
I don't, dude. It felt like it, and I remember I looked up and I just went, "Holy shit!" And about that time, Sarah was behind me, and she goes, "Nope,
we're out of here."
And my wife turns around and she just bails, and I'm like, "Bye." And then I found out later that like they had these big trays of blood that they were just throwing on people, and it was wild, man. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Unfortunately, that is some weird stuff.
It was like an Event Horizon scene. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Oh my
the
God.
Guy hanging from.
Yeah.
I wish we could get the deleted scenes from that, but it sounds like they've been burned or they're destroyed forever, man.
Yeah.
The movie was so much worse
as they
than it
should
was.
be, but yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So yeah, so no,
probably.
it's those, you know, those yeah, you paid for that. You have to laugh. Yeah, I guess you guys did indirectly.
My mom gave me those $4 every day
Yeah.
so that I could get a hot lunch at school, and instead it went to you hanging out with passed out Tom Braidwood in the back of a van.
It's true. Kind of makes
He's
it worse.
if he's still around, he probably hate me for that one. So. Yeah, but it was a great time. It was fun. We had a really good time, and Tom was very, very, very fun to be with. You know, you like to be able to hang out with people and just enjoy it. And you know, after the time we spent at Gen Con, you know, the 12, 14-hour days, you know, just you know, promoting the game, talking with the people, it you know, you just need to open up. I did, you know, the one thing about Gen Con that I always liked, or any of the conventions that we went to, was sitting down with the Wizards of the Coast guys, you know, just kind of sitting down and talking shop and what they were doing. And, you know, we were still small potatoes, but we had, you know, we were catching the attention. And again, so much could have happened there.
So did you see this thing? I don't know if you saw this. Brian sent this to us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a standout on foam board. So it's, you know, something with a backing and everything. And it's the X-Files Collectible Card Game. And it says, introducing, the truth is your customers are screaming for the X-Files Collectible Card Game. The X-Files Collectible Card Games, the truth is out there edition. Who are we to deny them anything? Available in February from USPC Games. Now, the question that I have about this is not what's on here.
Right.
It's why would something like this be put on a foam cardboard thing with a back to be displayed? Wouldn't this be something that you'd want to have as a flyer to like somebody, but like this guy was like so excited that he got this. Like, dude, check this out. We're getting X-Files because they told me it's going to be rad. And then he displayed that. I didn't understand the logic behind that piece of marketing.
You know, that would be a Ronnie question, but
I like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, we did have flyers, if I remember right. I think they were more for the Gen Con or any of the conventions. Those were for the hobby shops, you know, to just put on display on their counter, so that, you know, hey, it's coming. So as you're walking in, you'd have it. Holding, you know, having a flyer for people who are walking the hobby shops is not really beneficial per se, from a marketing perspective.
This one Brian gave us too is great. This is the Inquest.
Oh, wow, that one, yeah, I remember that vaguely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some really
beautiful piece.
Yeah, they're very, very beautiful pieces, and you know, you have to remember marketing at the time too. I mean, a lot's changed in 25 years. You know, you look at it and say, well, why would we do something like that? But at the time, it was a really, really good piece to use. So.
We want those kids' lunch money now.
Yeah, we want our lunch money back.
Exactly.
Well, Bob, what have you been up to since then? What are you doing these days?
You know, when I left USPC, I made a decision. Do I want to stay in sales or do I want to go into customer service? I knew that I would never find a sales position like I did with USPC Games. So I made the decision to go the customer service route. So I've been in different companies, from water softeners to healthcare. I'm currently working for the company that makes ragu and Bertolli pasta sauce as the customer service manager. So you know, I've been there for 7 years this month.
My gut thanks you.
Glad that you're utilizing the product.
Yeah. Doesn't ragu? I had heard this recently. Ragu is literally translated to the best sauce or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so basically in Italian, you're being like very conceited. If you show up with ragu, you're like, dude, it's the best sauce. Screw you.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, you know, hey, take it from an Italian. We are the best. You know, there's only two people in this world: those who are Italian and those who wish they were Italian.
Ooh.
So,
yeah, but then again, tomatoes aren't native to Italy. But you know,
I know neither is spaghetti. So
I know, right?
Ragu's authentic, though, right?
Not Italian.
The raviolis are.
Maybe the
raviolis,
but not the tomatoes. Yeah,
the tomatoes or the pasta. Pasta came from China. So
yep.
You know, it's just hey, but we figure out how to use it better. So
I got nothing wrong with that statement.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you can eat tons of pasta sauce, but you can't eat tons of lo mein without getting sick. So, but
hey, it's all right. You know, you learn something every day with food. Everything's changing. Fun fact: I learned vodka gluten free.
Who knew it, right?
Who
There
knew?
you go. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, and vodka doesn't irritate my gout either. So
yeah, it's good for you. Is what I heard. A guy in an alley told me that.
It's a health drink.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got some Russian in me, so you know, I've definitely put a few vodkas down my throat over the years. But no. So yes, I'm in customer service now and have been enjoy it. I like the support piece of it. Looking towards the twilight years, looking towards retirement sometime in the future, hopefully in the near rather than the later future. Looking to retire down in the South Carolina area. So
okay.
Yeah, but again, like I said, when you guys contact me, and Dave May contact me, and it was great to get back into the swing of things again and just talk about this. I do think about it now. I mean, I've thought about it every once in a while. What if we could bring it back and do it all over again? How would we do? What would we do different? How would we continue this? Because there's still the following out there. Is there still the possibility of resurrecting this? I don't know. With the right backers, with the right excitement level, could you get the old team back together and rekindle the flame that we had back then? It would be really nice. I mean, I think it'd be exciting. I often tell people it's like, once I retire, I'm going to go to my second career of being a bartender on the beach. Could I do the X-Files again and get into that possibilities? But again, I really appreciate what you guys have done over the months and just being loyal fans of this. It's really cool. And great to see that your excitement is there. And then I love all the memorabilia you have there. And maybe if I find something in my quest through my basement or wherever in my attic, see what I've got, and maybe there's something I can send out to you guys. So.
Oh, that'd be great. And a lot of times when we do these interviews, people give us different things that we can in turn give away to the fans.
Yeah. So I mean, this Mike Mackey started us out, just giving us cards, and then we send those to anyone that needs them.
Yeah.
So
and we do giveaways all the time. In fact, this one. So this is a signed Krychek agent card by Nick Lee, and we got this from David Frank. And we're giving it away. Actually, today's the deadline. By the time this video gets posted, who you are is getting this. We're sending this to you for designing a new logo for us. Yeah, so we love doing all sorts of stuff like that, and giving stuff away. We do have some great memorabilia, and it's only because we get to talk to amazing people like you that were there, that were part of the process of stealing our lunch money. Yeah. So
there is a following. I mean, there's a lot more people than we thought that still play the game. Not just to collect it, but actually play it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's great to hear that.
And we're working on some more sets right now. I don't know if you're familiar with a bloke named Dax in the UK. Him and I are working on a set right now I cannot wait to show it and share it with everybody. It's going to be amazing. And then there's some other things that are kind of in the works too. So it's definitely not a dead collectible card game anymore. I don't think. No. I don't think it can be classified as that.
No. I don't think it ever was dead. I mean, I have been watching over the years to see, especially when having the pewter cards, I was just curious to see if anybody was actually, interested in those. And I saw there was one guy who posted that, I someone offered the set, and it wasn't mine. And I knew there was only 2 sets that I was aware of, and they were asking too many zeros.
Yeah, that was on the that statement, I think, was originally on the Wikipedia page. Was that there were too many zeros.
Too many zeros in the asking price, and it's from my perspective, and that's why I let Kevin take them. Was that if someone really enjoyed what they were to have them in their possession, they would get more joy out of them than I would just having them sitting in my drawer. Yeah. So
and
definitely.
That's why Brian provided us with his. I mean, it's front and center with some amazing LED lights. I can get a remote for that thing. I mean, that's
cool.
It's front and center. We've got some other cool stuff like Gen Con set, like Scully's Dream, and just we want to share this with everybody. And you know what? In 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, when we decide to hang up whatever we're doing, I don't know how long it'll take. Yeah. I'll probably reach out to one of our fans and be like, dude, why don't you keep the torch going?
Carry the torch, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean that's important to me, and that really makes you appreciative of the stuff that you have. So So that'd be cool. Anything you want to send us, shoot me up, an email, and let me know, and we'll definitely take care of anything you want to offer us or give to the fans. So
I think the one thing that I wish that I had gotten was one of the Gen Con decks, if not more than one. So unfortunately I didn't take one of those. I'm too busy talking to everybody, and everybody was playing the games, and again, it just it's funny how they all disappeared. It's like boom, they're going
into the chipper.
In the chipper, yeah. No, they didn't go to the chipper. We knew that. I mean, I knew that they were where they were, and just that the team was starting to take them, and we're giving them out at Gen Con, if memory serves me right. So but things happen, and again, doing things different the second time, who knows? And I think the one thing though, is just keeping the collectability high, from my perspective, from a sales perspective, from a gameplay perspective. Same thing, like I said, with the Lotus, Black Lotus, taking that and destroying the collectability and having certain people be able to get it. It keeps that excitement going. So we'll see what happens come the future. I hope to be around for a while to see how you guys do.
Indeed. Yeah, there's some fun, exciting news coming. So
Yeah.
do you have any other questions?
Well, I do want to ask Bob, is there anyone else you can think of that we should try to interview or try
Duncan McNamara.
Duncan, good luck.
Ron Kent.
Yeah, Ron Kent. Man, I have not talked to those guys in 20 plus years. Duncan did his thing, and I don't know what he did after the fact. Ron, I loved working with Ron. He was a real down to earth guy. I remember his long hair and the mustache and stuff. He was just kind of very cool. I think it was Ron. Wait, there was Ron, and who else was there? Was one other guy, wasn't there? Maybe not.
Duncan, yeah, just Ron and Duncan were the original creators.
Yeah. So Ron, it was Duncan. I don't know where he's at. I've tried looking him up, see if he's anywhere to be found, and I can't really locate him. So, but
well, you know what? It worked for us once before. So, are you watching, fans? Get out there and find them. Start doing your wwws and your worldwide internets and find them.
Yeah, and just yeah. Well, maybe in my travels here, as I'm kind of going along, maybe I'll run into him and say, "Hey, Duncan, what's happening? Why don't you get a hold of Matt and Mike and give them an interview or something? So they can get a real sense of what they experienced, because they were sorry, and I know how passionate they were with this product and what they were thinking about, moving forward with other products. And it was a shame that it did die as quickly as it did. But and Ron too. Maybe if I run into him, I will definitely tell him to contact y'all. So
we'd be forever grateful, sir. And thank you again for doing this. It means a lot. I know the fans love it as well. Just because it's. When we went into this, I don't want to be redundant, but we went into this not knowing any of this story.
Yeah.
And now being able to find all these puzzle pieces together, it's creating this picture and it's creating this story. And I know at least one person that is actually in the process of possibly doing a documentary.
Yeah,
really
about this. So I'll pass along that information to you if you'd like to be a part of that as well.
Sure, I'd love to be a part of it.
Yeah. But yeah, again, thanks so much for doing this. And anything else? Really?
No, I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you,
well,
again,
guys.
so
Thanks for having me, and keep in touch. And if you need anything, you know where to find me.
Now it's customary for the guest on the show to do the finger guns. So go ahead and.
Is that? Or, I have a shirt that says "Pew pew, motherfucker."